think they can hear us now?
Can you hear us?
Probably.
Yes, they can.
Not that anyone's watching or listening. Ready?
Yet.
Yep.
All right. Welcome to the Midwest Game Nerds podcast. I'm your host, John, and here with me today are Brian
Hey.
and Alex.
Hello.
Today, we're going to hit on some feedback, talk some game news, and go into our first impressions of Sony Santa Monica Studios' God of War. But before we get to all of that, if you want to follow us on social media or see all the places you can listen to or watch the show, check out MidwestGameNerds.com/links. If you haven't been paying attention to our social media, we do in fact now have a Patreon. The Patreon is meant to benefit all the shows on the Midwest Podcast Network. So if you're so inclined to do so, you can subscribe to the Patreon for as little as $1 a month to help us keep our network alive and well. As always, we do appreciate your feedback, which you can send to MidwestGameNerds@gmail.com. And don't forget to follow us on Twitch, as well as rate and review us on your favorite podcatcher. And don't forget, the 1UpX Esports Tournament League Expo is coming to Toledo June 22nd through the 24th. You can purchase tickets and find out more information about the expo at 1UpXEsports.com. And I just realized I did not give anyone the Patreon address. It is patreon.com/MidwestPodnet, PODNET.
Yeah, if $1 doesn't sound like much, it may not be much to you, but it's more than $1 that we receive to do the show at the moment.
That's 4 gumballs a month.
Yeah.
We can live off of that, maybe.
And,
If you did the $5 level, that's basically 2 energy drinks a month.
yeah, and you can talk to us directly on Discord, which will make it even easier for you.
And if you want to spend more,
to talk to
$10 is like 2 Hot and Readies a month.
Yes, much like our friend Jason Kimmel, who for doing that gets his name mentioned on the podcast.
Thanks, Jason. We love you.
Yes.
Yay. Thank you.
We love you for helping our network. It's so awesome. Yeah.
Thank you to everybody who has donated.
Yes, we
already
do
have
appreciate
6 or 7 patrons, I think,
I
at this
think
point.
it's 6. I'll check. I'll take a look. But
Everyone who's donated, I don't know, every time I get one of those emails, I'm like, oh, man, this is awesome. People are giving us money.
people care.
It's like
So-
We have 6, and we're currently getting $24.30 out of our $50 a month goal.
Yeah,
Currently.
that's $50. Yeah, the $50. Not that we don't have to do all this. It's not going to be like this from here on out. But $50 a month accounts for all of the costs of operating podcasts. That means hosting and WordPresses and domains and whatnot. It doesn't cover the video games that we talk about. It doesn't cover the movies that we talk about or any of that stuff.
It definitely does not cover the video games.
But
Doesn't even pay for one whole game.
It covers how much I am paying out of my pocket to host everything and have it all up there. So I would love to be able to make that. That would be great.
Corey also wants me to address Brian's likeness to Kratos.
Yes.
I don't
especially
really
with
see
how
it.
especially with how buff he looks sitting like that. Keep flexing, buddy.
We should we should get some red face paint for
Whatever,
Yeah,
boy.
I think you should just be drunk Kratos for Halloween. We'll paint you up. We'll get like the whole body paint going and get
Shave
like the
my
big,
head.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
You have to try and deepen your voice. You got to do my Vin Diesel
Wow,
impression.
wow,
from
Kratos, you really let yourself go.
Shut up, boy.
Anyways,
Where's my ex?
I started to try to keep track of how many times he was saying boy. I gave up really quick.
He says
That'd
it a
be-
lot.
That would be a bad drinking game.
Yes.
He'd be drunk after 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Has anybody played anything else? I really haven't. Hit me with that. What have you been playing?
I won't talk about it much because I think we're going to next episode.
Yeah.
But I finally tried Overland, which was one of the games
Yeah.
at PAX that
Mhm.
you guys seemed excited about. And so I purchased the first access that is now available to anyone that's willing to pay for it.
Yep.
And it seems pretty cool. It reminds me of FTL a lot, which is a good thing. But that's about all I'm going to say so far.
Yeah, we'll get into it more in depth
Yeah.
next week. But
I also played more Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, and yeah, that's a really cool game. I just haven't gotten around to sitting down and playing through the whole thing. It's not that long from what I understand either. You can finish in a day if you have a full day available.
what is it? It's like a third-person action.
Yeah, action and puzzles.
Psychological terror.
Yeah, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It's very much it deals with psychosis a lot, and it's very unique in that manner. Like
Yeah.
they recommend that you play the game with headphones because the audio is
You hear the
specifically
voices in your
mixed
head.
to sound like there's voices in your head.
Yeah. That's
And
cool.
most of the story and the backstory of Senua is like portrayed through the voices in your head that you hear.
Okay.
And then there's more to it beyond that, but it's a very nice looking game too.
Well, yeah, it won a motion capture award, didn't it, at the Game Awards? Wasn't that what won the best motion capture or animation or something?
I don't know. I know they picked up some sort of award for it at the BAFTAs.
The girl who
recently, too.
plays the main character won an award at the Game Awards.
Oh yeah.
For her acting in the game, and I think that had to do with motion capture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she had never done motion capture before. This is like her first time doing it. So
I think she worked for the company, but that wasn't what she normally does.
yeah, they just kind of put her in that role.
Yeah.
Right on. Anything else?
Just
No?
the usual things.
The usual.
I
The
wanna
Rainbow
say.
Six. You played a little Destiny. We won't get into that.
Yeah, PUBG. Well, the 6v6 thing is fun.
Yeah.
Like, they should have never taken it out of at all. Like
That's what most of the
it just
internet is
immediately
saying.
made me think back to playing Destiny 1 and how much fun I used to have in Crucible.
Yeah.
But I only played it the one day. I've been busy doing other things, playing other stuff.
I think I'm back to not caring anymore.
About Destiny
Yeah.
in general.
I'm not even
Yeah,
when they do a
I-
big expansion, I'm not going to bother.
It's hard for me to care. When the next expansion
I will care when the expansion
comes out, I'll
but-
still play it.
I just
'cause
can't
I
bring
already
myself
bought
to
it.
do it.
I can't return it, so I might as
Right.
well play it.
No, I mean like the Taken King-ish
Oh.
level thing.
Whenever that happens.
Should happen in September if they're lucky, but
At this point, I just want books. I just want to read the lore of Destiny as written into books. Because I like the story. That's about it, though.
yeah,
The rest
I don't
of it,
know.
I'm over.
I don't know. My ongoing first-person shooter itch is scratched by Rainbow Six when I do get to play it.
I was gonna say, says the guy who hasn't been playing.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been an itch that is needed to be scratched as of late. Plus, I haven't had time for it. But
It's okay. Gladish has
Oh.
you covered with your Twitch rolls.
I did play one
Good.
other thing. In Death that I had purchased right before PAX, I think, when it was on sale. That's a VR game for Oculus Rift. I think it works on Vive too. 'Cause
What do
I
you
think it's
do?
in the Steam store.
You die.
It is kind of like a Dark Souls game, but a VR version.
it's not just like Coffin Simulator 2018.
You're just in a box and you have to scrape at it.
It's not quite Dark Souls, but I mean
Okay.
it's difficult, and it is. It's actually, from what I can tell, I think the levels are randomly generated
Okay.
to an extent. But you have full bow and arrow mechanics with the touch controllers, which are super cool.
So you're playing first-person Dark Souls.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's first
it's not
person.
as
as
well.
well.
Kingsfield,
God.
also known as Kingsfield.
Okay,
For all of you
it's
OG
Kingsfield.
all you OG PlayStation guys who probably don't even know what I'm talking about, because I don't think anyone even bought Kingsfield.
Yeah, we have
except
the one
us.
copy of
Yeah.
that game that exists.
It came in the original PlayStation game boxes,
Yeah.
the huge, bigger than a DVD case box.
I think I have it downstairs.
Yeah, it's somewhere.
Yeah.
We should bust that out for a stream.
It'd be pretty good.
I would say, okay, not in a gameplay sense, but more like aesthetically. It's
Okay.
It's that kind of magical, dark, medieval kind of thing.
So you're not rolling
And,
on the floor to dodge away from attacks.
You can dodge. I can't figure out how to do it. It explained how to do it, and I don't understand.
Once he figures it out, he's going to be throwing up all the time.
The graphics are pretty damn good.
You're going to need that Oculus Rift barf bag attachment for the bottom of the helmet. It just clips onto
It's
that in your chin.
That's a good thing.
That would be a
probably
pretty good
shouldn't
idea.
give that idea away while two people are listening to us. You
Yeah.
know?
Anyways,
Yeah.
Alex?
I haven't had too much time to play stuff, but I have been playing, because you guys go to bed at 7 o'clock, so I can't play Rainbow Six.
Is that
with you guys.
true?
I go to bed at
No.
11.
Yeah. Same
And why do you
here.
guys play? I guess it's Gladish is the problem, since he has to
Yeah,
play
but
at
he even
6
plays
o'clock.
till 9:30 or 10.
Which,
Yeah,
which
I
is
need
like
to
3 in
start-
the morning.
I need
his
to
time.
start at 9:30 or 10 is the problem. So, but
not our problem.
no, it's not. Clearly, you guys don't play with me anymore. But since you guys go to bed at 7, I've been playing something called Space Chem, which is by Zachtronics, the people who made Magnum Opus, which
Yep.
we talked about a couple weeks ago. It's an older game. I think I've talked about it previously, but you are like designing reactor processes to bond molecules together and output to specific places. It's very hard to explain.
Sounds exciting.
It's really awesome. It's like the total chemistry nerd video game that I want, and I've been playing it for years, but I finally just decided to go back to it because it's very puzzly. It's very much like I need to figure out how to do this, and I was pretty quick to give up like a long time ago. So coming back to it, it's been kind of fun to figure out exactly what's going on, and also like I had been so early on in the game that I didn't even realize that I didn't even realize that there are certain types of levels in it. Like, not only are you like, it starts out with you designing a reactor to take like hydrogen and bond two of them to an oxygen, and then you go and output it to somewhere else. But then it gets to the point where you are designing one reactor that feeds into another reactor to do a different reaction, and then puts that output elsewhere. And then on top of that, there's another type of mission where there's like a big tank coming to crush a different reactor, and I had to fill up these silos with methane in order to blow them up and stop the tank. So it was just weird to me that I had never known that these types of missions existed in the game, and it's been out for probably a decade at this point. I'm not even sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
But no, it's cool. I do have Nintendo Labo. I have not put anything together or tried any of it yet. I'm excited to check it out. The thing that I'm most excited about, it seems like the game requires you to play it undocked, which is not something that I do much of. Not to mention it also is touch control, which I don't think I've played a single game with touch controls on Switch as of yet. Like, I haven't used them.
Did you end up watching that video I posted?
I did. It was really good, and it looks like the programming aspect of it seems very in depth, and it can.
It was kind of
let you do things
mind-blowing
you wanna
how
do.
in depth it is, I think. This
Yeah.
we're talking about a video on, I think it was on The Verge, and it was partnered with Polygon, where one of the girls on the team decided to make instruments using Labo, and she goes into the programming aspect of it and how it actually like broke her brain,
Yeah.
doing all the different permutations and if then statements, like if you do this then this happens, yada yada. It's pretty impressive how elaborate this programming language they created is for Labo. So I'm really intrigued to see what other users are able to come up with.
Yeah.
I hope they have I don't know if this is the case, but I hope they have some kind of database where people can upload their creations, and then you could also download them and the directions of how to make things.
that would be pretty nuts. I would hope that if they don't have that in there yet, that it's something that they're working
Yeah, it'd be
towards.
really cool if you could somehow also model your cardboard cutouts and things in the program and do it the way they did, and
Yeah.
then allow people to have directions on how to do these things and whatever. But yeah, it looks really cool.
I'm excited to see who figures stuff out with 3D printing.
Oh, what
I'm
they're
sure-
capable of doing
I'm
with
sure
it.
there's got to be some thing that is a Thingiverse thing.
I
that
didn't even
is
think of that.
the rail for
Yeah.
sliding the Joy-Con on. So the idea that you could make creations with that and then try to control.
I'll
them.
have to pay a little more attention to Thingiverse and see what pops up, because somebody's gonna be in there doing.
Somebody's
that.
got to be doing something, and it should be pretty cool. But you play anything, John?
I did. I played some more Flame in the Flood. Flame in the Flood. That's
Yeah.
how it's pronounced.
How does it stay lit if it's in the
Yeah,
flood?
shut up. The fires go out. You have to start them when all the tinder dries.
Okay.
Anyways, that game. Okay, I thought Don't Starve was hard. This is more difficult, but along the same lines. And I say it's more difficult in that the whole point is you're traversing down a river that's flooded, and you're landing at these certain landing points and collecting supplies and things. But it's brutal because you can get sick. And if you're in the rain for too long, you get cold. You can get a cold. You get sick. If you get struck by animals of any sort, you can get infected and things like that. It's pretty crazy. And you have to find mold to make penicillin and things like that.
Interesting.
This is the level of immersiveness that I don't care for necessarily in games. This is the reason I stopped playing Metal Gear Solid, is because you had to like disinfect the wound and remove the bullet and then like dress the wound and then put Band-Aids on, and then it stopped being just eating rations to heal yourself. It became this like elaborate mess
Or
of
snakes.
things you had to do.
Stuff is awesome, man.
I don't like those sorts of things, but this game is a lot of fun. It has a really cool aesthetic. It's super cheap. I think if you have a Switch or a PC, or I think it's on every platform.
It's on Xbox Game Pass.
What's super cheap?
Like $15.
Yeah, it's free.
Super cheap
It's,
to me is like $5.
it's free on Xbox Game Pass.
We'll see where the Patreon goes. I might consider.
It was on sale for PlayStation this past week, I think, too, or
yeah,
2 weeks
it was
ago.
like $5, I think.
Yeah,
It
But-
does seem like a good game to have on Switch, though.
It's awesome on Switch. I love playing it on there. I'm glad I didn't buy it on any of the other systems, because the Switch version I think is like the definitive edition too. Like it has all the little add-ons and things added after the fact, or
That's
something
cool.
to that effect. But yeah, it's a ton of fun. We've been playing a ton of Rainbow Six, and we're actually getting pretty good at it. I think we've been playing a lot of ranked lately, mostly gold and silvers. I started as gold 4 when I finally got ranked, which is the highest I've ever been in ranked, which is pretty sweet. But yeah,
you guys do seem significantly sweatier.
Oh, we're way
I
more
am at
sweaty.
the lowest rank you can possibly be at.
Yeah.
I got really unlucky with the placement matches,
We
I
had-
started really low, and then when we played ranked Wednesday, our first inaugural ranked Wednesday, we lost every time.
we had a lot of really rough matches.
They were
but
really close.
They were all very close. It was all we were one match off basically,
Yeah.
and we played. We went into OT on every single one
They're
of them.
all hard fought.
Yeah, like it's
heartbreaking loss.
Yeah, heartbreaking loss or whatever. We tried. Like we were doing really well. We just have little things that each of us are doing that we need to pay a little more attention to. But
We're not doing.
yeah, or not doing. Overall, I'm having a lot of fun
Or
with
you
it.
could just not play ranked and have actual fun with the game.
We played with some random kid, and he was actually pretty good. Like,
Oh yeah, it
he-
was good.
some little kid out of the Middle East. I can't remember his name,
It was like 4
Um,
a.m. there or
yeah.
something.
Damn.
but he was he wanted to play with us because he was watching Corey and Gladys stream, and he joined in, and he was actually pretty solid.
That's cool.
So it was fun to just have some random kid who wanted to play along with us. You know?
He actually communicated in a more mature and direct manner than we ever do.
Yeah,
Like he was very concise with his call outs and stuff, and we're just not.
yeah, it was pretty good. But yeah, that's about it for me in terms of what I've been playing.
All right.
You want to head into that news?
Yeah, let's do it.
Woo.
First up is you, John.
All right, so Valve has purchased Firewatch developer Campo Santo. This is kind of a big deal because Campo Santo makes games and Valve doesn't.
Oh well, they're going to again.
Right. So the whole point is Valve bought these guys and has decided they're going to leave them completely intact and working on whatever projects they had working on at the time. They're not giving them any directive. They're just letting them do whatever they do. And so now this developer, who was a small-time developer who made a smash hit game, is going to have a massive amount of funding behind it. So that's pretty exciting in the sense that Valve is going to start getting into publishing games again, I guess. They're not developing them; they're going to be publishing them.
It's really weird. I feel like it's just Gabe being like, I need to tell people that we're putting out video games again, so why don't you guys make Steam or Valve games?
Well,
They're like, okay.
I really liked the. There was one of the comments that was like, "Firewatch 3 confirmed." I was like, that's awesome. Like that needed to be said.
That'd
So,
be pretty good.
but yeah, it's exciting because you've got this studio that made a really cool game. It has a cool aesthetic, a cool it's all around like a good game, and Valve saw something in them and was like, we want to get on that, and so they did. And now, like I said, this small studio, who I don't even know how big the team is. It's not a big team, but
No.
everybody gets to keep their job. They're not being reappointed to different roles.
They
within
are moving
Valve.
now.
They are going to be moving, but they get they're going to have a
the
massive
Seattle
amount
area.
of funding. So we'll have to pay a little more attention to Campo Santo and see what happens. So that's my news bit.
Yeah, no, that's
it has
cool.
been fully confirmed by Campo Santo too.
Yeah.
It was originally a rumor. But
There's an update here. Shortly after the publication of this article, which is on Kotaku, is what I'm looking at. Campo Santo confirmed the news on the website, saying that Valve became an obvious match to the studio. So no, that's cool. I hope they continue to put out video games. They had that other one that looks like it's in Egypt or something. That's
yeah, I
coming
don't
out.
remember what it's called.
Valley of something.
Yeah,
I think they mentioned it in this something.
in the Valley of Gods,
Yeah.
scheduled for next year. So, but yeah, no, awesome.
Cool. Next.
So I don't play any Call of Duty, but I thought this is interesting.
Most of the world does.
Polygon came out with a story this week that said Call of Duty Black Ops 4 won't have a traditional single-player campaign. Black Ops 4 will instead focus on multiplayer and zombies, according to sources. Obviously, nobody from Activision commented on the rumor and speculation. They just said, come back on May 17th when we actually reveal.
Reddit exploded.
But yeah, I don't know. I was wondering what you guys think about this. This is mostly just my soapbox to say I feel like they need to start thinking the more Ubisoft way of things before they burn out their goodwill or anybody stops caring about them. Like, if they're going to do that, like, all right, there's no traditional single player. All right, well, then let me pay $30 for your game because that's all it's worth to me now.
Right.
Like, it just seems like there's no point in them continuing to have 3 completely separate studios working on the exact same multiplayer.
Yeah.
Which I know it's not the exact same. That's why people get super butthurt about it when, like, in Black Ops 4, you can't press X to reload in the same amount of speed as when you do in
Whatever.
Modern Warfare 3. But I don't know. It just, like, Infinite Warfare, which came out 2 years ago, was like the last time I was like, maybe I should finally buy a Call of Duty game because of the story. Like, I wasn't going to play the multiplayer at all.
Yeah.
So at this point, I just kind of think they're saying goodbye to me and saying, well, we never got you, and we're
Well,
never going to.
Yeah, I mean, it was never your kind of game anyways.
Yeah.
Nobody cared
First-person
about-
shooters suck.
Nobody cared about the single-player campaigns in those particular games anyways. Like, nobody's playing
Not
that.
no.
Well, but Black Ops 4 was like, people were like, oh man, the story was sweet in that. Like, not 4, but in 1 and 2 at least.
Modern
I
Warfare.
The
know.
only
COD
reason-
4.
No, I'm thinking Black Ops 1 and 2 are the
Okay,
ones where
yeah.
people were like, yeah, these stories, and not only did the stories actually like have bearing on each other, they were kind of not serialized, but like 2 actually commented on things that happened in 1 and like did cool stuff with what happened in 1. It just feels weird for them to be like, okay, this is Black Ops 4. Also, we're doing that thing. We're not going to do that half of the game that people actually kind of cared about with this one. That's strange.
I mean, I never played any of the campaigns like for the sake of the story in any Call
Yeah.
of Duty. It was simply a means for me to understand how the game is played, so then I could just jump into multiplayer.
Yeah, I mean, it's really like playing an action movie anyways. It's real light on story.
I mean, that's what they started as, like playing. You know, like the original Call of Duties were like it was all about the single player campaign, and
Yeah.
then the multiplayer came secondary. Like, but when was the shift? Was it Modern Warfare 2? Was like the big push to like?
The original Modern Warfare had pretty popular multiplayer, but I would say it definitely blew up with the second one.
Yeah.
And then
Was that the one? The second one is the one that had like the airport scene, right?
Yeah, no
Yeah,
Russian.
Yeah, where you'd like mow down a whole airport, basically.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's what got the game a ton of attention. So
Yeah, I haven't finished a campaign since the first Black Ops. I've
Yeah.
gotten burned out on them, but I do appreciate them being included.
right.
They're usually not that long, but
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, like, the multiplayer is the draw, but I also feel like I'm burned out on that as well. They should really only be doing a COD game every 2 or 3 years instead of every year.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, it seems like it needs to get to the point where they just, hey, pay us $60 to get all of the new maps and weapons for Call of Duty. Like, the next one's got to be called Call
Right.
of Duty Forever, and they never put out another disc.
Yeah.
And you can
Call
play
of Duties.
You can play stuff from World War I all the way up to, Infinite Warfare, whenever that's
Right.
supposed to take place. Like,
That would be awesome.
seems like the right way to do it. But I don't know. I guess, you put enough maps in one game, then you're kind of destroying fragmenting your player base a lot and making it so that, but anyway. I just thought it was interesting.
There's just not enough that you can do with multiplayer every year to make it different enough than the previous COD game. That's my issue. I mean, they'll start to differentiate things. I mean, they'll go in the route of like the future with all the extra movement and the wall running and stuff like that, and then they'll scale it back like they did with World War II. And
Right.
It's very
I
cyclic.
don't know. It's gonna, yeah, exactly.
But
I think they're out of ideas for that.
yeah. Which sucks because the fact that like Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare was like the most influential multiplayer to come out in a video game since forever, that they can't figure out a way to make it new and fresh and different again.
Right.
But, you know, you can still buy loot boxes.
Well, the people
I'm
that
sure.
made that game did. They made Titanfall, which was new
But
and fresh and
Titanfall was,
different.
I don't know. I mean, it was still just multiplayer shooter that has progression and stuff to unlock. Cool.
True. Well, the
like,
mechs
that's-
really changed things up. The Titans were awesome.
But that's still not like a fundamental shift in like why you come to play a multiplayer game. It's a big gameplay difference for
Yeah.
sure. But it's not like a here's your treadmill. They haven't reinvented that treadmill as of yet.
Well, I don't, is anybody really going to do that ever, you think?
I think they should because they did. Like they figured it out
Right.
once. Come and do something new and different this time. Instead of just like, all right, keep the treadmill going. I'm prestige level 99 and check out how sweet I am with this handgun and knife.
Look at
Like,
my hot pink shotgun.
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, that's enough about Call of Duty from someone who doesn't play Call of Duty. Brian, you're up.
Yes, riding on the coattails of that story. Here's another rumor about a shooter. The Battlefield 5, which is the competition basically to Call of Duty, even though it's nothing alike.
They're pretty similar.
They're both first-person shooters that you play online and have a treadmill.
And there's loot boxes.
One's got
Battlefield
bigger
games
maps.
are, they're large scale. They're designed to feel more like you're on a battlefield. Hence the name.
Yeah, where Call of Duty, you're just in a box with a bunch of other people that have
Yes,
knives.
a very small box with like 12 people. It's a totally different
well, that's
game.
what Modern Warfare is, Brian.
Being in a small box with 11 other people.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, supposedly the rumor is Battlefield 5 will have a battle royale mode, which seems like a no-brainer. I hope it's actually true. I
Yeah.
would like to see their take on that.
Some
with
people
their
were
level of resources and experience.
theorizing that's part of the Call of Duty thing as well, is that they might also be working on a battle royale.
I don't
Yeah.
know why like they're just doing this now. I mean, they should have added these on to like
Yeah.
the last round of games.
This is an unconfirmed rumor, but I thought it was worth mentioning
Yeah.
since we were going over COD
In
news.
Right.
in news that surprises nobody at this
Yes.
point. But yeah, no, I don't know. The only battle royale I ever wanted was when someone was like, "What if Metal Gear Survive has a battle royale in it?" And then I was like, "Okay, I would do that."
And then it didn't.
But it didn't.
And it sucked.
And
So-
now I don't care about it anymore.
Right.
So, yeah,
Anyways,
I think that's it.
Let's talk about things that matter,
like what?
like God of War.
God of War.
Boom.
God of War is a third-person action game by Sony Santa Monica Studios.
It is the fourth mainline game in the series.
But kind of a reboot, right?
No,
Sort
No.
of? No.
It's in
I did not
line-
play the other three.
it follows in the same. It is
Well,
chronologically.
chronologically it follows, but in the design aspect, they kind of took a completely different approach to it, from what I understand.
it is a revitalization.
Okay.
I wouldn't
That's
call it a
that's
reboot
good
necessarily.
way to put it.
Yeah.
Full disclaimer: none of us have finished the game at this point. This is more or less a first impressions, but I
Yeah.
think I'm maybe halfway through the game.
It just came out Friday, and we couldn't game.
We didn't get any press release,
consistently
like
from
press
then.
pass, like pre-release bullshit because
Yeah.
we're not cool enough for that.
So I'm maybe only 3 hours in, 4 hours in. Brian's a little past me, and John's maybe about halfway through.
I think I'm like,
Potentially.
based on what's happened in the story, I want to say I'm like at a halfway point.
Okay.
I love this game.
Look,
and
he's
that's-
all giddy. It's been
hard-
a while.
It's been a long time since I've felt this way about a game. I want to collect everything. And I wasn't. The thing is that I wasn't collecting everything because I was rushing to try and get as much of it done before we were, came to record this. But now I need to go back and do a whole bunch of stuff. It is slightly
Can
open
you go
world.
back?
Yeah, it is. It is open world, which is cool. You are allowed to explore and go places. When you reach, this isn't really a spoiler, I suppose. When you reach a central point of the Lake of the Nine, I think is what it's called. You don't have to stick to the story. There are areas that you can explore along the coast of the lakes of the lake, which is cool. So there's all kinds of different areas to go to. When you unlock there's other characters you run into in the world that will give you missions to do outside of the main quest line, which is cool. There's tons of collectibles. There is a full level up progression system where you gain experience points and then you spend your experience points to get new abilities. There is also a plethora of different armor sets and things that you can get. You can upgrade your axe. You can get different runes for it to do different skills. That's just, these mechanics are all really cool, but the story is dope. Norse mythology is like one thing, like combining Norse mythology with like this, like, what was God of War? Is it Greek? It's Greek mythology. Yeah. So combining these two mythologies into like the same universe is like really cool to me. One of the mechanics in the game I think is really cool is you have a companion. It is your child, Atreus, and you are Kratos. And what normally I would be super annoyed in games where I have companions, like, for instance, in Assassin's Creed when you have to hire people to help you to do things, super fucking annoying. They constantly get in the way. They can die.
Fall off buildings.
Yeah. In this game, Atreus is like super helpful, and you also get to level up his bow and his skills and his armor. So he's like a whole different character that like you actually don't really have to do anything with. You can give him directive of when to shoot his arrows, or he also learns summon spells later on too, which is really cool.
Well, thanks for spoiling that.
It's not a spoiler, dude. It has nothing to do with the story. It's just one of the things that you can get. It's an ability.
Okay.
And you unlock
I didn't know
these
he was
different
magical.
runes
I
that
just
allow
thought he was
you.
a boy.
It's not. It's a rune that he puts in his weapon that allows him to summon things.
Okay.
So, I love this game. It's awesome. I want to finish this so I can go home and play it, but I also have to go to mom and dad's house to pull all my stuff out of the basement.
What you liked the first God of War, right?
I loved the first one. I didn't play 2 and 3,
Yeah.
and then there was like a third one in there somewhere, or fourth one.
There was,
in there.
God of War Ascension
Yeah.
came out late PlayStation 3, and
I'm
there's
actually-
2 PSP games
I'm
as well.
super disappointed in myself for not just buying the remaster collection for PS4 and playing through everything all over again, because I loved the first one, and what I really liked about the first one was the fact that it was a different kind of action game. It was the first time that a game had QuickTime events, if I recall correctly. I don't remember any games having those originally.
Yeah, there was some weird stuff in like Resident Evil 3, but it certainly is the most ubiquitous modern QuickTime event.
Yeah.
God of War was like the start of all that.
So the new God of War 2018 doesn't really have QuickTime events. Like they're not. You don't have to like hit the button like quickly to do anything. It just kind of holds, and you can hit the button whenever you want to, which is kind of annoying, but not because like it slows down the flow of things if you're not doing the QuickTime events. I like them if they're done well. I thought God of War did them really well. I thought The Order 1886 did them very poorly. So I think
like most things.
Going back to the original God of War, one of the big things I liked about it was the perfect amount of game and story, and it was only 8 to 10 hours maybe, like maximum, and if you played it on like the harder setting, and it was just like when you got done, like you felt like I completed a game. Cool, like it's done, and like I enjoyed.
That's a feeling you don't get very often.
No,
right?
I don't, because I get bored with games. But like that one, like it was the right amount of time spent playing, and then it gave me like a good feeling of completion when I was done with it. So I didn't feel like I was wasting time at any point. Like, it had a good flow to the overall game. And I think this game is very similar in that it has a great flow to it. If you just follow the story, which is all I've been doing, not doing any side quests or anything, the flow is great, and I'm really sucked into the story, and I just want to keep going. So I love it so far.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you guys feel about it?
I am really enjoying it. Initially, when I first got into like a large, excuse me, when I got into my first like large scale fight with enemies, I was thinking, man, this might get kind of repetitive fast. Like the combat seemed a little simplistic at that point.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, a few hours in, you start realizing that you can unlock skills. There's different moves. There's a lot of like nuance to the combat that I didn't notice initially. Like when you're dodging at just the right time, you can slide under enemies' weapons and stuff like that. Stuff it doesn't really explain to you, but it just kind of, you get it and it feels right. It feels very good. The combat
it has a great flow to it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. I love the axe and like the Thor aspect of it, how you can just recall it. It's so fun pulling the axe back through people.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I was going to say is when you're, like you were talking about being in like a big, large-scale battle where you're surrounded by enemies, you whip your axe, it goes flying, it sticks into an enemy or it sticks into a wall or whatever, and then you just start pummeling guys with your fists, and then all of a sudden you're surrounded, and then you pull the axe back, and it rips through everyone who is in line to come after you, and then you can just start hacking at them again. And then you learn skills that, like, there's a shield bash skill that you can use that powers you up, and you, like, bash, and it does an area effect where it, like, bursts enemies away from you to, like, clear groups of them. And then Atreus comes in handy because you can use him to distract other enemies.
Yeah, or you can pull enemies from other groups and stuff.
Right. And then he gets his upgraded arrows, which cause like chain attacks between things, like as he's using his arrow. Like it's the battle system, the fighting, like the combat is so well put together. I'm literally grinning about it right now. Like it's so good. Like everything about it is sweet. You get those when you bring up enough of the stun, like when you stun an enemy, you can then like rip their heads off and stuff. Or like my favorite is he grabs them and he like swings them on the ground and stomps on their head and explodes. Like
they're like Doom glory kills.
Yeah, they're so good.
Those
I wish
giant trolls at the end when you kill them are just ridiculous.
He just like rips their jaw and then cuts their mouth further with the axe. Oh, it's just so good. It's so gratifying.
The story element is really good so far too. I like how he's like a real stern father figure, but at the same time you can tell like he really cares a lot. He doesn't know how to be emotional. Kratos, that is, and I mean he's the god of war. You know, he's closed his heart off to feeling for his enemy, but I mean obviously his child is not his enemy. So, but
everyone's an enemy, Brian.
I totally just realized now I'm an idiot. I should have picked this up sooner. But at the very beginning of the game, there's a scene where a cutscene where he's like wrapping his arm wrappings back on.
Yeah, it's because he lost the chain.
He doesn't have his chains of Olympus.
Yeah, the Blades of Chaos.
Yeah,
is what they're called. Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, like I wonder if he gets those back, and I don't know if he does.
I was just thinking that today. I was like, what if like one of the last things you get in the game are you
get the Blades of Chaos and you have the axe. And, like, what are you going to be able to do with all that? Yeah. Like, you're going to be able to destroy everything.
Yeah.
So, Alex, what do you think?
I like it a lot so far. I played through the first God of War only a couple of years ago. I had the collection for PS3, and it was good. It just, wasn't... I just felt like I was button mashing and killed a lot. It felt more like a Dynasty Warriors to me. This game is pretty much the complete opposite of that. There's a lot of... I'm horrible at the combat because I was just like, I'm going to play it like God of War, and I'm just like basically bashing the front of the controller. And
I would say
that doesn't do anything because all the attacks are on the shoulder.
This is actually closer to playing Neo, but not as unforgiving as that game.
Well, I don't know. Like when it starts throwing like two heavy enemies at me, and then like 3 dudes with projectiles, I get just completely destroyed, and it's rough. But hopefully I learn the language a little bit more and start to chain together better combos.
Are you using a lock-on?
I am.
'Cause
Yeah.
You can use the lock on, and then you can direct Atreus to shoot arrows, and that
Yes.
distracts an enemy.
I'm really bad at using Atreus too. Like
You
I
forget
just-
that he's there because you're so wrapped into what's
and
going
he
on.
can actually take care of himself.
Well,
He gets grabbed once in a while, but for
Yeah.
the most part, he's not a nuisance
Yeah.
at all.
That's what you don't have to worry about him dying because he doesn't die either. Like it's
there's
they
like-
don't allow him to be killed.
there's there's a timer where I don't know what happens. Like if an enemy does
When he
grab him,
starts getting choked out.
Yeah.
he has
He
a
can get choked
cooldown.
for like a long time.
He has a cooldown, I think, is what it is, which is one of the stats that you can actually upgrade on yourself is like your cooldown, which affects the runes that you put into your axe and things like that. And I'm assuming it probably affects Atreus too.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I'm hoping I get better at it. The thing is, like, I just always think of like, oh, he's shooting arrows, so it must be just like a weak attack. That's not really worth me doing anyway.
You can upgrade it.
Yeah.
I have him
So-
maxed out right now, and he's stronger than I am.
That's
Like,
awesome.
because
Oh,
the
wow.
the stats for Kratos take forever to really level up.
That's the other thing that's new with this game that we didn't really talk about. There's crafting and like loot and getting runes that allow your weapons to do different things, and then also
Yeah.
like making armor that has different abilities with it and upping your own stats and stuff, which is cool. It's not really something that's been in God of War previously. So
I definitely enjoy like getting the collectibles is satisfying because there's usually some sort of environmental puzzle involved that reminds
Right.
me of the newer Tomb Raider games,
yeah.
and I enjoy those. And they almost always have something to do with using your axe,
Yeah.
which is cool. The game looks beautiful. I mean, it's pretty breathtaking.
Yeah, I've tried it out in both performance and resolution mode on the PlayStation 4 Pro, and I think the resolution mode does like look a little bit nicer, but it's such an incremental difference compared to like how smooth the game is on performance mode
Yeah.
that I think I'm going to stick to performance mode from here on out. But
I've been playing on performance mode, and I just like how snappy everything feels.
yeah.
I haven't run into any weird glitches other than like some audio cutting out occasionally. But I only had that problem when I started using headphones.
I was getting some weird glitches in resolution mode where it would like bring up like a frame of like white rectangle on half of the screen like every once in a while. But it kept happening. But the game has also received like 3 patches since I
Yeah,
initially
well,
installed it.
One of
so,
them, I guess, people were complaining about the font being too small,
Yeah.
which I can see, and it's still a little too small even though they made it slightly larger.
Yeah.
But
Just get a bigger TV.
yeah.
But the other thing that I really like about Atreus is that he, as a function of him being on this journey with Kratos, he's kind of contextualizing a lot of the violence that's happening in the game. Like there's very much I don't want to spoil anything, but there's like a part in the game where you start to encounter humans that aren't like
Yeah.
undead enemies to be attacked. And watching Atreus deal with those encounters is more than any previous God of War has tried to do with any type of
That
subtle
was
storytelling.
definitely an emotional scene.
Yeah.
There's a couple of really good dialogues between the two of them where basically Kratos is explaining war, like
Yeah.
what war is to Atreus, and like him just coming to grips with like, you know, that his father's been this like war machine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't played the old God of War games, but I would imagine based on when they came out and stuff, it was basically just like it was violent just because it was cool.
Well, let's
And
just
it
say
didn't really have a real context.
spoiler alert for this God of War, but it doesn't start with you doing a quick time mini game where you're having sex with women.
Yeah, that doesn't
Which
happen
like
time.
this could very well be the first of the other 5 games that are out
Right.
that doesn't do that. So I don't know that maybe that'll happen later in the game. I don't know, but
Well, that's just a Greek culture thing.
yeah,
mean,
yeah. Now we're
Kratos isn't a Viking, so he's not raping and pillaging
Okay,
like the
that's
rest
fair.
of the
all right.
Norse community or whatever.
Only orgies for Kratos. No,
Yes,
no
and they're
raping and pillaging.
it's too cold up north for that. so
Right.
That's fair. Yeah.
there are no bathhouses either.
But no, so I like a lot of the nuance that the storytelling is receiving there. Really, the only thing, I mean, Brian said earlier, oh, I like how cool his voice is. I feel like it's a bit over the top for like the more grounded visual sense they've taken on for this one.
He's a big dude, though. He should have a deep voice.
He's a very huge
He's a
dude,
huge
but
dude,
he's
yes.
not like he doesn't need to sound like you took Michael Clark Duncan's voice and then put it down like 50 octaves
And then had him play Batman.
yeah, like it's not. He doesn't need to be this like booming. I don't know. It's just it's a little silly.
I mean,
but
A godlike voice,
Think about it,
perhaps?
is like he's a god. Like he needs to have that characteristic of being this powerful being, and I think part of it is conveyed in his voice, and I think it's a character trait that is telling of him as a character. Like he needs that to be conveyed that way. I do want to speak on the voice acting. It is, while it is very good, I have slight issues with it because I feel like the immersion is like I'm pulled out of it a little bit with how like I don't know. I would expect Atreus to have some kind of accent. You know, of course, you would expect Kratos to have one too because he's Greek. But
yeah,
also like some of the other characters you run into. There's another NPC that I will say he follows you around at one point, who has a Scottish accent. I don't get it. Like, why does he have a Scottish accent? No clue. Other than you find him in the mountains, like
yeah,
the Highland.
yeah. I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like the locale is so nebulous. Yeah, you're somewhere.
Well,
in
and
like
some of the language that
Norwegian or
Atreus
whatever.
uses is like kind of like he's just like, well, that's dumb or whatever. Like he says things like that where you're like, no
There's
kid in
not
this
much of, like,
particular
a-
time point would say that. Like,
Well, but what time point is it, John?
I don't know. It's not modern day.
I think the
clearly.
word dumb has been around for centuries.
No, but like it's just the way he says certain things are just kind of like that doesn't really fit. But whatever, I'll let it slide because I like the story.
It's that weird thing about like vague historical.
No, I the thing is the game is so good. I'm nitpicking at
Yeah.
the stupidest shit, and I realize that.
It's
but
also not based on true historical fact or anything.
you don't know that. What do you know about Norse mythology?
You're right. I wasn't alive back then. Maybe Kratos is real.
Are you
I
sure?
thought you were alive
Yeah.
back then.
That's why we have you on this episode.
Yeah, for historical accuracy.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else to bring up at this point. No, I'm excited to play more of it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it.
I keep forgetting that there's a quick turn, isn't there? I think I forgot.
There's a
about
quick
that.
turn, yeah, and I haven't used it too much. I forgot that it existed after you said that.
How does the quick turn work? I forgot
You
about
literally
it too.
just you tap
you-
the down button on the D-pad and it
Oh,
flips
okay.
you 180 degrees.
That
Yeah.
seems kind of pointless, honestly.
No, it's actually, if I remember to use it, it's very helpful because there are times like you get the damage indicator or like incoming
Yeah.
attack indicator that shows up on the screen.
I just dodge to the side.
Yeah, usually, but I mean, it'd be nice if you could flick that and it would, turn you around if you remember to
It
use it.
seems
But
like an
also,
awkward spot to hit it really quickly.
I kind of wish the lock-on mechanism, like when you kill an enemy you're locked onto, it would just switch to
Switch
the next enemy that's closest. Like I
Yeah.
wish it did that because it doesn't, but I don't know.
There were also there's a few different monsters that I've encountered that throw off your lock on. Like they just completely
Yeah.
take it off, and it just seems like, why give me a lock on then? Like, who cares?
Oh, like the bigger trolls and things.
Like the bigger troll, but then there was like even smaller people, or like the stranger when you fight the stranger. We should talk about that briefly. Not
Yeah.
not spoilers.
That's not a spoiler at all.
the
It's so early in the game. I mean,
It's literally in the first 10 minutes of the game.
the fact that like some of those fights they just drop your lock on whenever you have them, and it's like, I get it, but it was happening so frequently with that and they're not the Reavers. What are they called? Like
the beefy little guys.
no, the one like the screeching like wizardess
Oh.
like
Oh, they're like witches.
The
of sort-
Revenant or
Revenants
something? Yeah.
I think that's what they're called.
those ones throw the lock off. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm just like still spastically
Maybe you
playing
shouldn't
God
get
of
hit
War,
by
and
the
I'm
poison clouds.
Not even just the
You-
poison cloud. Like when because they'll, if you attempt to attack them, they like scurry away, and
Oh,
I think
yeah,
it
they
just
kinda
destroys your
disappear,
lock
and then-
on, and it's like, well, whatever.
You gotta
Well, you have
stun
to
them
use-
with
yeah, you have to-
Atreus
I
and
got
then
it.
hit them with your
I know.
axe if you want.
I figured that out.
Right. Yeah, I mean, needless to say,
Minor complaints.
we really like the game.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a PS4, there's no reason to not
You
pick
should
up.
you should
this
buy
game.
it. And if you don't have money for it now, buy it when it's on sale. if it goes on sale.
Yeah.
It will at some point.
I mean, you can always wait. You're not going to miss out on like a multiplayer
If you
community
wait,
or something.
if
'cause
you
it's
wait
single
3
player
years,
only.
it'll be free on PSN,
That's true.
like Knack was.
Yeah.
I wouldn't wait that long.
No, I wouldn't wait at all. Just get it as soon as you can because it's a lot of fun. It's really well done.
Yeah. Plus, you don't want to be left out when all your friends are playing it and talking about
I
it.
really do want to finish it. I'm gonna finish this game
Yeah.
because
No,
I
there's-
really like the story. I think it's super well done. It's definitely especially with what happened like at the point that I'm at right now. I can't talk about it because I don't want to spoil it. But as soon as that went down, I was like, "What?" Like it was like a total like, "Oh shit" moment. Like,
Yeah.
So I'm kind of pumped to see where it goes.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, God of War, buy it
Yeah, I think we all recommend it.
for show. Tommy sent in some feedback.
Yes, you did.
We appreciate that, Tommy. It's been a while. He said, "I'm thinking
Yeah.
I'm back." That was the subject line.
I feel like he's written us an email with that subject line before, though, which is kind of funny. Maybe it was somebody else.
Tommy,
I
do you
don't know.
need breaks from us occasionally? Is
I'm
that,
thinking I'm
is that
back
what it is?
2.0.
I don't blame
Right.
him.
I should probably read this because there's a section where he wants me to do
Yeah.
a voice.
Yep.
He says, "Hello, nerds. Sorry for the long absence. I got a new job and it's been taking up a lot of time. Also, I haven't been playing that many games. However, there were some worth mentioning. No Man's Sky, yes, the most inexplicably hated game in the world. It's not that bad. If Netflix was a video game, it would be No Man's Sky. It doesn't require much attention. It's easy to get lost in and has an unlimited amount of mediocre content. The only problem with the game is the inventory system and bugs that make me restart the game. Next, Hellblade."
Those aren't bugs; they're features.
Yeah, they're features, right? The next game, Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice, more like Slowblade gameplay sacrifice. I have read an interview on Game Informer. Yes, I still subscribe to that, with the director of the game, and it made me want to play it. Also, a buddy of mine was raving about how, and he says, "John, you have to do a douchey bro voice for the rest of this run-on sentence. Artistic and hardcore it is that a sexy babe is totally psychotic, and it's so realistic because there's a message in the beginning that a hardcore psychologist was like the executive producer, and Psychosis is so accurate because it only happens this one way. It turns out it's just a slowly paced
You
game.
don't
with-
have to be a douche anymore.
I want to keep doing it, though.
Okay.
It's just fun. No, okay. It turns out that it's a slowly paced game with lazy, shallow combat and frustrating puzzles that slow the pace even more. However, it is very pretty, and I want to see where the story goes. Valkyria, is that how that's pronounced?
Yeah, Valkyria.
Valkyria
Chronicles.
Chronicles Remastered. This fun little game was on sale a while ago, and I picked it up for some reason. It's a turn-based strategy military game that has a rich story and ridiculously endearing characters. It takes place in the 1930s in a fictional anime version of World War II, and there's magic at some point. It's very reminiscent of Advanced Wars for Game Boy Advance with similar animation and gameplay. I recommend Valkyria Chronicles if you're into that. Moving on, it's awesome that you guys went to PAX as an introvert, and I don't even know how to say that.
Anoclophobic.
And
maybe?
Anoclophobic.
I don't know.
Thanks, terrorists. I would never go to one of those things, so it's cool to have you guys experience it for me. However, it would be totally rad to run into Jessica Chobot, emoji with hearts in the eyes, or Greg Miller, emoji with nerd glasses. Regarding having a career in the video game industry, I don't know why so many people want to do it. The only stories I hear is how terribly mistreated programmers are and how often everyone gets fired. Even in the realm of indie games, it sounds like nothing but stress. Indie Game, the movie, helped me see that. It is a love of the art thing, or is it a love of the art thing? That can't be the case if you're working for EA or Ubisoft. Can you guys provide any insight into this? Lastly, would you throw in lastly, I would throw in $1 or $3 per month if you made a Patreon. You guys have been entertaining me for years, and I can't imagine how bad it must smell in your studio. The air freshener budget must be through the roof. I guess video games are expensive too.
Yeah, there's no candles going right now. We ran out.
No, not yet. I just bought Far Cry 5, and the idea of mowing down religious white people in middle America is making my mouth water. So if you excuse me, I have the Lord's work to get done. Keep doing what you're doing, Tom. That was an awesome email, Tom.
Thank you, Tom.
Really appreciate it. Touching on
Well said.
the art, the love of the art thing, with video games. I'm an artist, and I don't make anything.
No, I think that is what it is for a lot of people in there, and even the people that are at EA and whatnot. I mean, I wonder how many of them are thinking, I'm gonna work for EA right now so I can make my own indie game in 5-10 years,
Or, man, I want to work at EA because they make great games like, well, I guess Mass Effect 2 was under EA. And then,
Like,
they ruined the franchise because they're EA.
Yeah, I mean, you think the people there obviously want to get to the point of like, all right, I'm gonna go and work on the BioWare stuff rather than the Madden
Right.
20 XDX or whatever. But
Well, I mean, it's like you said, like when I went to that panel about artists in gaming, even though a couple of them were specifically board game artists, like
Yeah.
there were some video game ones as well. And that is the main thing I took away from it, is that they worked at these big name studios to like get a reputation so that they can go off and do their own thing. And I mean, even like The Flame and the Flood is a game that was created by an indie studio, by an artist who decided that she wanted to just go off and make her own studio, and she did, and she made a game, and it's awesome. Like, so I think that that idea of it, you know, being a launching point, like you kind of do it like it's like paying your dues in a way. Like you're paying your dues to get like where you need to get and to make the contacts you need to you know, to get where you need to go. And then once you have all that under your belt, then you can step away from like the big wigs and do your own thing. And then hopefully it works out to where you're able to make a career out of it. So,
or you can do it the hard way and have a real job, and then in all your spare time pour that into making an indie game and be miserable, but then eventually it might come out and you'll feel redeemed.
yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I think because of how bad and toxic it is in some places, I think it is a career path that you need to be in because it's something that you really want to do. Like, I think these are people that are sitting there thinking about how they felt the first time they played Mario or stuff like that, and just trying to figure out how to recreate that for someone else or be involved in recreating that for someone else. And yes, it's not, you know, the latest NHL game isn't going to have you feeling like Mario, but does that mean that's where you're going to be forever? No. But at the time, is it going to be what pays better than, say, working for an indie studio? Yeah, I think so. So it's one of those things. I think it is very much for the love of the art in a lot of cases. But I don't know. If there's anybody listening to us that creates video games and would like to weigh in on that question, we'd love to hear it. MidwestGameNerds@gmail.com.
that's something we could also ask any of our devs that we're in contact with currently.
Yeah.
So
So
we've got a few that we're talking to. We're hopefully going to get some interviews going.
yeah,
Was my douchey bro voice douchey enough?
I thought it was good. It was a little
Yeah.
surfer bro, but I mean, you know, there's douches of all kinds. So
What's the one dude from the Film Nerds who had his like it was like films of all colors or whatever?
yeah, Alistair.
Yeah, douches of all colors. Or
Douches of all, yeah. Yep. Films of every color and douches of all colors.
yeah,
For sure.
That'll be the next podcast.
We
on
do
the
not
network.
discriminate.
Anyways, yeah, Tommy, thank you for sending that in. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
We're happy to hear from you because it's been a long time, man.
It has.
It's
Yeah.
been a minute.
And thanks for the Patreon thing. He did put his money where his mouth is.
He did.
Although he didn't do the $10 thing, so forget I said anything.
We weren't supposed to mention you unless you gave $10, but we do it anyways because we like Tommy.
Yep.
He's a longtime listener. We got to give him props.
Well, now we have to step it up to $20 for mention.
Right. Yeah. So that's that.
Yeah.
What else? There's no other feedback, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. Next week or next episode, we're gonna try and talk about Overland. As we said, we've all bought into the first access.
And hopefully some Labo. Huh?
Yeah, that would be good as well. So hopefully that can happen too. In terms of the rest of the network, Willie and Tim are finally back. They did put out their Sweet Home episode this past Friday on Horror Movie Yearbook, so please go and check that out. The Alienist recap finished up. The series wrap-up episode went up last week, 2 weeks ago, week and a half ago, something like that. So please go give that a listen. And Westworld starts up tonight, the night that we're recording season 2. So we've got the season 2 primer up right now. We're going to have our first episode recap out within the next day or so. So please go check that out. I think if you're a gamer and you have not watched Westworld, you should be watching Westworld. So please check it out and then check out our podcast.
Do it. Westworld FM. If you want to follow us on social media or see all the places you can listen to or watch the show, check out MidwestGameNerds.com/links. Don't forget, we do have a Patreon now, patreon.com/MidwestPodNet. You can donate as little as $1 per month, and it'll help us pay for things because this is not necessarily a cheap hobby by any means. We do appreciate your feedback, which you can send to MidwestGameNerds@gmail.com like Tommy did. And don't forget to follow us on Twitch as well as rate and review us on your favorite podcatcher. And also do not forget the 1UpX Esports Tournament League Expo is coming to Toledo June 22nd through the 24th. You can purchase tickets and find out more information about the expo at 1UpXEsports.com. That being said, we appreciate everyone coming by, and we will see you next time. Peace.